Shall we?"
Lundy picked up his chips, stood, then turned and dropped 2 of them at his place with a nod to the dealer, who nodded solemnly back at him and raked them in. They went to the desk in the hotel lobby, where Lundy exchanged a slip of paper for a battered briefcase. Then they entered an elevator and rode up through the bowels of the hotel. They emerged into an empty corridor. Grayson bent to unlock the door to his room, then pushed it open and stood back to let Lundy in. The room seemed surprisingly small for a luxurious hotel, no larger than the Holiday Inn singles Lundy usually took when he was in America. Grayson pulled the door shut behind himself and went to the wall-sized window. He drew the heavy curtains shut, then moved to a table that held an assortment of bottles and glasses. He splashed some scotch into a glass.
"You?"
he asked Lundy.
"The same. No ice."
Lundy stood awkwardly for a moment, then sat on the bed and leaned forward slightly, his hands clasped between his legs, which dangled just above the floor. He wished Grayson had left the curtains open. He found the big sky and empty, dark ocean a soothing antidote to a hectic day. Grayson handed Lundy his drink, which he accepted with a murmur and sipped thirstily. Grayson seemed unable to settle. He moved nervously around the room. He had the quick, agile movements of a boxer, Lundy thought. In spite of his bulk, he was graceful and lithe.
"Would you mind opening the curtains?"
"Yes," said Grayson. "I mind." Instead, he picked up a wooden chair and brought it to the side of the bed where the Frenchman sat, twirled it around so that the back faced Lundy, and slid onto it. He crossed his arms over the top of the chair, rested his chin on his thick wrists, and fixed Lundy with a grin. "Okay. Let's see it, then." Lundy opened the old briefcase and handed an envelope to Grayson, who glanced perfunctorily at its contents, then said, "And the papers?" Lundy handed him the documents. These the big man scrutinized more carefully. Lundy finished his scotch and watched Grayson without interest. He wanted to lie back on the bed and sleep. The scotch burned pleasantly in his stomach. He wanted his big warm wife, whom he would hug from behind, her great soft rump against his stomach, his hand buried between her thighs. He yearned to sleep and later awaken. She would turn to face him. They would make love then, in their comfortable, practiced way. "Trace it, Mr. Lundy?"
"I'm sorry, what was it?"
I said, "You're certain no one can trace it?"
"Oh, yes," sighed Lundy. "Absolutely. I'm the only one who knows my client's name. I paid with a cashier's check, as instructed. I told no one. Those people, they understand and respect that. It's not uncommon, the desire for an anonymous transaction, and I understand discretion. That, I assume, is why I was retained to perform the service. And now, if everything is in order, I would appreciate your paying me so that I can return to the airport. It has been a long day for me. A very long day." Grayson rose from the chair.
"Why don't you pour us another drink," he said, "while I get you your money."
"Bon."
Lundy yawned and got slowly to his feet. He placed the palms of his hands on his lower back and rolled his hips, then moved wearily to the low table where the bottles stood. He splashed some scotch into his glass. Without turning, he said to Grayson, "Where's your—" He never finished the sentence. Grayson's left forearm circled his chest from behind, vice-like, pinning his arms and whooshing the breath from his lungs. Lundy gasped. He could not inhale, so insistent was Grayson's embrace. "So sorry, Mr. Lundy," whispered Grayson into his ear. Lundy felt Grayson's free hand cup his chin. The fingers and thumb caressed the jawbone on either side, feeling for the proper grip. Then Lundy felt his chin suddenly squeezed hard in Grayson's hand, a quick, hard jerk sideways and upward, and Lundy heard, rather than felt, the